Good morning, team. I am off to watch a film with Indigo today at the cinema, thanks to a lovely person on here who sent me a bit of money for the summer holidays. So thank you all so much for your support. Let's do some news. First off, the UAE leaders are in Egypt discussing cooperation in economy and development. And this is really, really good to see the Arab countries supporting each other like this, developing like this. Been really heartwarming to see, and I'm sure it's also a bit of a kick in the face to America. So, two birds with one stone. Algeria has again rejected possible military intervention in Niger, meaning that they are going to take it very personally if a third party gets involved militarily in Niger, and are prepared with a number of soldiers, I think 45,000 plus, to go and support their neighbours. It's also worth remembering that the pipeline that we believe a lot of this is based on is actually also running through Algeria. So starting a war footing with Algeria would be pretty awful for France and the West. South Sudan has dismissed their finance minister, the fourth in 3 years, and this was stated by the president's spokesperson because of the drop in the value of the nation's national currency. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of this, so I can't tell you whether I absolutely agree with this decision or it's to cover up corruption. It could be a number of things, but the idea of removing a finance officer because the currency is doing poorly is something I think that the West could very much adopt. I think it is high time that we started removing politicians who simply don't do their job in the period of time in which they say they will. Looking at you, Rishi Sunak. Ruto has ruled out power sharing deal with his opposition. I don't know what to make of William Ruto. I hear very, very, very mixed reactions. I would love some commentary in the comments about what people make of William Ruto. Is he a Western asset? Is he working for Kenya? Please do let me know what you think. South Africa's Ramaphosa meets policymakers to discuss illegal mining. And I know recently he's done a talk where he's discussed the introduction of factories so that South Africa can produce products rather than giving away unmanufactured products. So I'm sure that this is a huge step in that, and I'm sure it is a huge problem throughout Africa. So I think that this is an excellent thing for him to be looking at in detail. Mozambique's gold production increased 53% in the first quarter of 2023. I'd be very interested to know where that gold is going. I think it's got to be the African Union has got to make this a priority, working out where the gold is going and that it is being paid reasonably for it. Niger rebels have closed airspace ahead of background of the ECOWAS ultimatum, which I believe ran out on Sunday, so yesterday, the 6th of August. And I have heard a rumour that there is some NATO aeroplanes amassing, but I don't know where that is, and I don't know if that's more than just a rumour. I haven't seen anything official about it, so if anyone has any information on that, possibly in Nigeria, do let me know. Zelensky's peace talks in Saudi Arabia. Ukraine has reportedly agreed to peace talks with Russia without the mandatory requirement of withdrawal from troops from the territory that Kiev considered its own. This is an article from the Wall Street Journal. It's not easily accessible, so I'll read it out to you from here. The Wall Street Journal quoted insiders as saying about the results of the consultations which were held on Saturday in the city of Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. Ukraine reportedly agreed to resume negotiations with Russia during these talks. The Wall Street Journal also reported that Ukraine expressed its willingness to engage in peace talks with Russian delegates without requiring Russia to withdraw its military presence from the territories that Kiev considers its historical lands. This would be a dramatic change from the status quo that Ukraine and particularly Zelensky has been pushing for the last 18 months. Yet later, Zelensky's office has denied a willingness for peace talks without a demand for troop withdrawal. According to the source, Ukraine has not conceded a single point of the president's peace formula. And then what is most telling to me about this pointless meeting that they had in Saudi Arabia is following the Jeddah talks, the participating countries did not submit a final declaration, citing the fact that... I'm sorry, I can't read that last bit. I'm sure you can from there. Consultative in nature, but I will say that was not unexpected. You know, the countries that they had roped in to come to this meeting are either neutral or pro-Russian, and they aren't going to suddenly sign a peace deal which suggests that Russia has to remove all of its troops from what is now Russian territory. There's just no way. The Sunday Times, with this wild piece yesterday, Iranian state now biggest threat to UK. What happened to China? What happened to Russia? Why Iran? Like, do we just fancy another war? Did we think, where on the map are people not making war at the moment? Let's pick Iran. I would really like us to just stop, please. I don't feel any threat from Iran as a Brit. I'm fairly sure no other Brits feel a threat from Iran. What I do feel a threat from is from our leaders making these sorts of statements. This is from the Home Secretary. For making these sorts of statements over other countries when we've got neither the army nor the military equipment to deal with any sort of war with any country. We probably couldn't even take on the Falkland Island war again, let alone a war with Iran. You know, let's be realistic, guys, please. Again, more about the Saudi Arabian peace talks. Jeddah did not insist on the implementation of Zelensky's peace formula, which the Russian side called unviable. And according to it, China was the only one discussing Moscow's red lines. Obviously, we have to be aware that Russia is also an actor in this, and there is no point in having peace talks unless it involves Russia. This is an order given to the French military by Niger, and they have given France 30 days for the military to leave in accordance with the 1977 agreement. And I think that after a lot of posturing and fannying about and blaming everyone but himself, you know, we have to remember Mr. Macron has blamed everybody else except, you know, their own colonial past, that I think that they will leave Niger. And that will be that. Washington also desperately looking for someone to blame for failing to influence the coup in Niger. The State Department has been accused of a slow reaction. They say that American diplomats ignored the events in Niger for a long time and only just realised at the last moment that they were losing control over a country with a population of 25 million people and the world's 6th largest uranium exporter. And we have to remember the conditions that the Nigerians were forced to live in. You know, lowest of the Human Development Index for many years running. UN peacekeepers on the border ignoring the exploitation and the ongoing destruction of Niger by the French. And yes, the Americans have ignored this too, but so did everyone else. I will come back for a part 2 of this. Please follow back. Thank you and God bless. Good morning.